Family-centered, Christian-based, grown in the heart of the Midwest. Talking to people from all walks of life.
The world needs more encouraging stuff, honest conversation. I always put my biblical spin on everything because that's my foundation. My name's Bubba. What is up?
I guess, do you got a favorite NFL team?
Well, yeah.
Oh,
you don't. I don't have anything up anymore.
Oh, Saints, is it?
No,
Okay.
no. I'm from Louisiana, so
Okay,
that's an autographed hat.
Gotcha.
Raiders are my team. Bo Jackson, the plaque right there. I had his jersey hanging, and that's right. I try and remodel the studio every so often, just so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, I had Bo Jackson. I'm hardcore.
Raiders.
Bo Jackson. If Barry didn't retire early,
Yep.
Bo Jackson stays healthy. Bo is your all-time leading rusher.
Yep.
I mean, Barry's the only one that could have competed with him if Barry had stayed in.
Yep.
But Emmett to me was not near the athlete that Bo or Barry was. But
even some of his baseball highlights are just ridiculous. He throws the ball on a laser sometimes.
You ever read his book, Bo Knows Bo? Great book. Great book. Talks about, he knows he's gifted. He said, God gave me the ability to run like a spooked deer and a missile for an arm. And bro had a rough upbringing, man. It was, he's definitely the kind of athlete you can learn from because he was gifted. He knew it, but
Absolutely.
Almost let it get away from him.
Absolutely. I'm a Broncos fan, so we play you guys. I know it.
Did you get that from your dad?
Yeah.
Was your dad a Broncos fan?
Yeah.
Doug, what are you doing?
I know it.
You guys are loving it right now, though, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. The 1 seed, I mean, with how young Bo Nix is and how shaky we have been, if we would have had like an away AFC championship, I would have thought we almost had no chance. Not that we're going to make the Super Bowl, but we have a really solid chance with the games being at Mile High and all that good stuff.
Man, I don't like Denver. I don't like Kansas City.
Oh, me neither.
But I don't like my own team right now. I mean, you talk to guys at work, and I'm just disgusted. I mean, great players and great coaches, they go to the Raiders organization to die. That's what it is. If they're lucky enough to get out, they go back and they excel. Randy Moss did it when he got to the Raiders. Terrible. Leaves, goes to New England, gets another ring, whatever. Gets a couple rings, whatever. Pete Carroll, Devontae Adams gets to the Raiders, no stats. Gets to the Rams with a quarterback who's supposedly got the worst back in the league, might not even be good. Devontae's right, top tier wide receiver in the league. I mean, we're just, there's so much wrong with us right now. But that's what makes you a fan.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what makes you a fan. It's through the bad years.
Absolutely, yeah. No, absolutely. I haven't watched too much Raider football this year, but I really like Max Crosby, and obviously he's not the most skilled quarterback in the world, but I really like Geno Smith.
Do you really?
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. When they were playing against us, we were just laying a beating on him, and we hurt his leg.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know. You guys have, 4 wins this year? I'm not trying to rub it. 3 wins this year. I'm not trying to rub it in or anything. So, I mean, he has every reason to quit. His legs hurts. He's old. People say he sucks all the time. And I'll never forget him barely being able to walk. And we are just low-blowing him every single chance that we get. We're going after that hurt leg. And he just kept playing the whole game. He kept
getting back up. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And that caught my eye. I loved that. That really got me going. I was rooting for him even against us in that situation. There's just something about football and the selflessness of it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that was a tough performance, but nothing's worked. Pete Carroll's whole experiment. I think we're paying 4 or 5 coaches right now to not coach the Raiders.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, Antonio Pierce, and the coach before it. We're paying all these guys, and it didn't work out. It's like we're paying you to not coach our team. We got to figure something out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brady's gonna help us. He's gonna be the savior.
Yeah, there you go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back for part 2 with Dunkerton basketball legend and rising AAU extraordinaire, Casey Gardner. If you missed part 1, go back, listen to it. A lot of basketball, a lot of talk about Casey's rise through the ranks and, just the experiences that young athletes who are gifted but yet work hard and expectations and goals, trying to reach goals and bonding, as all that good stuff was in there. But we ended on the most positive note right there. All that stuff, all the accolades, absolutely don't fulfill us. We all got a God-shaped hole inside of us. And Casey found out what is the only thing that will fill that? That's a relationship with Jesus Christ. So he figured that one out. This week, we're going to get into his segments, have some fun, get a little serious at the end, of course, like we always do. Hopefully, we're going to encourage you this week. So speaking of encouragement, I want to give a couple shout outs real quick. You guys know I do this in every part too. We got to keep it positive, right? If you're an artist in the area or you're passionate about art, guys, I want to encourage you, check out the Steve Brown Art Center in Jessup, Iowa. Check them out on Facebook. Jim Gillespie has a vision to build a rent-free house for aspiring artists and create a thriving community where art flourishes. With dynamic exhibits and interactive workshops, the Steve Brown Art Center sparks creativity and passion. So go check them out on Facebook if that's your sort of thing. If you're interested in purchasing some amazing yet affordable art to spruce up that home, office, or cabin of yours, look no further than my buddy, gifted artist and former podcast guest, Tony Thomas. He paints everything from nature scenes to cityscapes to biblical portraits and southern staples. I love his stuff, and I wouldn't recommend it unless I got it hanging on the walls of my house and in my studio right there. If you're watching on video, that wood duck, that's painted by Tony Thomas, autographed by Phil and Kay Robertson and Tony Thomas right there. So head on over to TonyThomasArt.com. Get yourself some amazing art. And let's not forget to give a shout out to what is going on, probably the most positive thing in the country right now. Former podcast guest, Pastor Corey Brooks, the rooftop pastor. He's walking across America to finish fundraising for the Leadership and Economic Opportunity Center there on the south side of Chicago. He believes that every community can have a comeback, and he's trying to bring revival and the gospel into the hearts and minds as he treks across the country. So go to projecthood.org. If you can donate, get involved with him. You can walk with him. It doesn't matter where you're at in the country. This guy's going all the way across the country. You can walk with him, support him and his awesome mission. Be sure to follow him on social media as he documents the journey all along the way. So let's get to part 2 of this episode, shall we? Casey, thanks for coming back, man. You ready to get into these segments?
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Casey, and all of our interactions, before we get to the point of this where we record the episode, usually it starts off either on Instagram and then it goes to email and then it finally gets to like text or whatever. Casey always ends every exchange with appreciate you. Like he's always thankful for what you're trying to do, what you got going on, or what you're trying to help him with. So I love that. A little bit goes a long way with me. Let's start with the do-over segment. Do-over. This is one thing in your entire life. If you could go back and get a second chance at it to do it differently, what would it be?
Okay, so the reason that it is this is because I believe that the important things that have happened in my life, the good or bad, all led to something. Okay, so
Sure.
My do-over is not super serious. It's actually my career high point game. It's my 46 point game at Denver. And so I kind of tell people this. So leading up to that game, Preston just hit 1,000 points at home, and Zach Johnson and Brady Hopple all hit 1,000 points at home.
Okay.
And this was my senior year, and I was 48 points away from 1,000 points in the Denver locker room. And Denver was really, really solid. They always are. And so I wasn't super worried about it, but I knew if I could get to 20-some, I'd be in a really, really good spot to hit it at home the next game. I kind of kept that in mind, and I knew I was 48 points away. I was getting close, and I had 26 in the first half, and it was one of those games like what we talked about in episode 1, where it felt like if it came out of my hands and it was aimed at the rim, it was going in.
Yeah.
And it was just one of them super fun games, and I knew the school record was 46, and I got to about 46 with about 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. At this point, we're up 18-20, so it's pretty put away, and I purposely did not take a shot the rest of the game, because I was at 46 and I wanted to hit 1,000 points at home. And I just look back now, and obviously this doesn't matter in the long run, but it would have been really cool to hit 1,000 points while breaking the school point record while putting up 50. And I don't know if I would have got there if I kept shooting. Maybe I would have started missing. But that's kind of my biggest do-over was I would have sacrificed hitting 1,000 points at home to do it in that fashion.
Look at the wherewithal. I'm gonna slow down so I can break this record at home. I wouldn't have had that. I would have, bro. If I'm on fire, you better bring the fire truck out to extinguish me, because no, I'm gonna be shooting once the game's over. Still, I don't care.
Yeah,
I like it. Okay, job history. Can you name every job you've had?
Okay, I'll try to name it without looking down. So, my dad's mom, my grandma Barb, she manages Taco John's in Waterloo, and she's been there for a long time. And basically, every kid in our family starts working there. Like my brother in 8th grade, 14 years old, he worked there. So I've had my short stints there. But other than that, it's really been coaching and training. Like I said, I started training one-on-one, just kind of individually. You know, people would Venmo me and cash and all that good stuff my junior year of high school. And then I had my first AAU coaching experience I had my first AAU coaching experience where I coached a full team for Beyond Ball out of Des Moines.
Okay.
It was my freshman year of college, and John Lamb, who has been awesome for me, he really kind of introduced me into extremely high level basketball.
Okay.
He's worked with a ton of pros. He's worked with a ton of Division I guys. He is a wizard when it comes to some of the basketball stuff, and he's just a maniac. Like, I remember one time I was coaching one of the practices for him, and he was running late, and I was kind of upset. You know, I'm new, and I'm running the practice, and he gets back with these 3 high schoolers that he has. I said, John, dude, like, where have you been? He's like, and it's like 7:00 at night. And he's like, sorry, these guys had a college camp in St. Louis this morning, and I drove them there. And I'm just like, holy cow.
Wow.
And he didn't sleep at all the night before, drove them there, did the camp in the morning, drove back, and then took over the practice. And I was just like, holy cow, this guy is insane.
Yeah.
So he's another person that I look up to in terms of the stuff he's willing to do to help kids, to help the kids in his program and all that good stuff. So I coached there for a little while in Des Moines, but ultimately it was just the drive was too much going from here to there, and from Storm Lake at the time to there, which was even further away, and I was driving there twice a week on top of a lot of this stuff. So I coached there, and then I coached Iowa Prep. I coached an Iowa Prep team. And then I've really done my own thing. And I will say, I'm sure a lot of the old guys are going to say that I'm just lazy, but the 9 to 5 at Taco John's just killed me. I don't know about a 9 to 5 ever. If it's a 9 to 5 and if I don't enjoy it, I mean, it is brutal waking up and going there. So so that's kind of my history in terms of career and stuff. A lot of it's just been basketball.
I like it. Bro, we kind of recorded right through dinner time. I could go for a 6-pack and a pound. Get my wife on that. Let's go.
Absolutely.
All right. Next segment, Pastor Tommy's segment. I love this segment. This is where, if you, my old pastor, Pastor Tommy, he used to hope that he was a big movie guy. And he's like, oh man, I just hope there's a room in heaven when we get there that you can sit down and you can just say, I want to see this event, what it looked like, how it went down. It doesn't have to be a biblical event, but a lot of guests do choose a biblical event, mainly probably because they just know, hey, the Bible's the most archaeological proven book in all of history. There's people who go on archaeological digs basing where they're looking, what they're looking for off of what's in the Bible. So just a little shout out to the Bible. It's truth.
Absolutely.
But you get to heaven, you get in this room, and you say, God, I want to see this. I mean, it could have been anything from all of history. What is it you're going to tell him to put in the DVD player?
See, so I feel like I would like to see this moment before I made it to heaven, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But, and this might sound crazy, I would love to see the crucifixion of Christ. I feel like it's just so powerful, and I feel like I literally cannot fathom how powerful that moment is in human history, and there just had to be some sort of energy going on.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact of how many people died for that in the resurrection, and if somebody's willing to see a moment in time and die for that moment and go to death all to just say certain things, how powerful is that? I feel like seeing that would just, like, obviously I try to live for Christ and I fall short a lot of the times, but seeing that, I just can't imagine the conviction that would cause.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Bible says people that were standing there, people that were there, not even standing there, the thief on the cross next to him, it changed him just in the nick of time. He
Absolutely.
recognized this guy's the Son of God. He has no sin. He shouldn't be here. I do have sin. And that's all it took for Jesus to say, today you're going to be with me in paradise. The guy repented of his sin and acknowledged Jesus as a savior. I mean, that's it. But yeah, there were other people. There were other Roman guards the Bible mentions that were changed. There were other Jewish Pharisees that were like, oh man, surely this guy was the Son of God. And yeah, like you said, I love saying that. When people start attacking the Bible or the disciples or say, we can't trust this, we can't believe this, it's all lies. Why did all these disciples then go to their grave? Because they would not rescind what they said they saw. They couldn't. They could not. They saw Jesus die, and then they saw him come back to life. They could not move off of that, even if it would have saved their life. They couldn't do it. So, bro, people aren't going to die for something they know is a lie, and they weren't tricked. So,
absolutely, that's one of my favorite parts of the Bible and Christianity is the fact of how many people die for it.
Yeah.
That is like the most selfless. It is the most selfless act you can do is die for
Someone else,
which is
yeah.
what he did for us,
Yep.
and what a lot
Yep.
of people do for him.
Yep.
It's so moving. It's so special.
that's right. I know I'm a big Christmas guy, but and in all reality, Resurrection Sunday, the whole Holy Week, we call it Easter, but everything from Good Friday to Resurrection Sunday, man, that's really the Super Bowl for the Christian. It really is, because without the resurrection, Paul says, if there is no resurrection, then our faith of all is to be pitied.
Yep.
Because we're doing all this for nothing. But Paul himself was attacking Christians and trying to stop it. And then once Jesus shows up, he says, nope, got to leave that life behind. And now I'm going forward. I'm on board. I'm all in. So,
Absolutely.
bro, just listen to Paul, guys. Come on. Okay, let's go to the Getting to Know You segment. This is some questions in here that you picked out, that I come up with. You pick them out, and we'll just run through these kind of rapid fire. Dream job, worst job?
I honestly think my dream job is being an AAU director. I enjoy it so much. I seriously, like I said earlier in the first episode, the fulfillment of seeing kids reach their goals and seeing kids work extremely hard towards something and see the value of that is so fulfilling to help other people.
Yeah.
And now I don't want anybody to take this the worst way. This is my opinion of worst job. Being an accountant, I couldn't do it.
Okay.
I've had two accounting college classes, and I'm pretty sure Caden Behrens is going to be an accountant, so shout out to you, Behrens. But my goodness, those classes were so brutal. I could not imagine that being my job.
Bro, we're all made differently. We're all wired differently. You know what I mean? There's another instance. There's proof of God right there. When you start looking at the human mind and how different we are, certain minds are like Behrens, and you could sit there and have a conversation with that kid about the color of paint on this wall, and he would want to know anything and everything about the factory it was made from and all the chemicals and this and that, and you and me would be asleep in 5 minutes, bro. No, our minds are created differently. We definitely didn't crawl out of the same cesspool of electrified water or whatever, that people think evolution happened. No, we're intelligently designed. We're pretty awesome.
No, absolutely.
Favorite sports teams?
My main favorite sports team is the Lakers. I'm a huge Lakers fan,
Okay.
Huge Kobe guy. And my other favorite team is the Broncos. I say I'm a White Sox fan when people ask, but I don't really watch a ton of baseball. But yeah, no, Broncos, which hurts you a little bit.
Little bit.
But yeah, Lakers and Broncos are kind of my favorite sports teams.
All right. You knew the Lakers were Minnesota before Los Angeles, right? Did you?
Yep.
I just learned that a few years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because
never knew that.
A lot of people don't want to count those championships, but they count.
Yeah.
They count. It's
Well,
still
it
the
makes
same
sense. Think about
franchise.
the name. Like, I didn't know it. And I said, well, think about the name. Los Angeles Lake. How many lakes are there in L.A.
Right.
compared to the entire state of Minnesota? I was like, oh, heck, yeah, they probably did move. Okay, I get
Yep.
it. All right. If you could meet anyone in the world, who would it be?
Obviously Jesus, but if we're just silly names, Kobe,
Yeah.
and it's not even close. I honestly would like to meet him twice. I would like to meet him as a player, kind of in that competitive fire that he was in, and then the other side of him of when he retired and he was writing books and he was coaching his daughters, and when he kind of all athletes at some point kind of not lose that competitive fire, but steer away from it.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to meet both versions of the
Okay,
of
I
him.
hear you. I hear you.
And then the other guy I have is Phil Jackson. Just from a coaching standpoint, I would love to have a conversation with Phil Jackson.
Yeah. You mentioned it in part 1 when we started talking about the Last Dance documentary. That was wild, man.
Yeah.
And that was a perfect time because none of us could go anywhere or do anything. So
Right.
for them to rush that production through and finish it up, I heard when episode 1 aired, they still didn't have like the last 3 episodes edited for completion.
Really?
So they started it while they were still finishing it, kind of thing.
I never knew that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I liked it.
Yeah,
I
it
liked
was.
it. One thing you plan on doing next year.
So actually, with the 3 uncles I talked about in episode 1, we're going to Vegas here at the end of January. So that'll be my first trip to Vegas. That'll be really fun. And then expanding the AAU stuff. I'm all in on it. We have 3 teams right now, and then looking to have 8 this summer. And then I really think after this summer we can start to get into double digits. So
Nice.
I'm really, really looking forward to expanding the program.
So if people want to get on board, if they're into that stuff or they think they got a kid that wants to get into AAU basketball, how can they hook up with you and maybe be a part of that expansion?
Yeah, absolutely. The easiest way is via email, purepointbasketball@gmail.com. Spelled exactly how it sounds. And then just look us up on social media. You can look me up on social media, Casey Gardner. You can look Pure Point Basketball up. If you search, you can find us, and just message me in any way you can, whatever's
All right.
easiest for you guys.
All right. I like it. In your opinion, biggest problem we have today?
I would say correctly understanding our potential as human beings. And what I mean by that is I feel like there are a lot of human beings that think we do it all ourselves and we create the blessings that we have and have a lot of pride. And I think there are also a lot of human beings that underestimate the power that they have in Christ. And what my girlfriend's little brother, Jace Lewis, he's an awesome kid. I love that kid to death. And one of my biggest things with him is he got into cross country this year.
Okay.
And a lot of his goal times, I felt like he was cutting himself short. And I just really want kids to understand that, man, like you said in episode 1, if you aim for the stars, then you're going to end up in a good place regardless. If you really just push yourself and set goals that are extremely difficult. That's my biggest thing with him right now, is just believing what you're capable of and understanding how much power you do have and what you can accomplish if you work hard.
Yeah. I like that. I like how you played both sides. Yeah. You can do more than you think. And then on the other side, don't think you're the only one behind it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I love it. Keep it in check. I love it. All right. Not every guest can choose this because not everyone who sits in that chair is actually reading the Bible. So where are you at in the Bible right now?
So I've fallen into kind of the aspect of understanding where a lot of things are coming from, and I've always been a big why guy in kind of solving puzzle pieces, and I'm in the book of Revelation, so I'm trying to connect a lot of dots with that and put pieces together and kind of see what I think, and I don't want to get too overboard with it because a lot of people say if you try to decipher the Bible and connect a lot of things, you miss a lot of the points. But like the story of Paul that you were just talking about, I just learned that story this year and just to understand kind of where a lot of the stuff comes from. And I've been having a ton of fun with that in Revelation.
Okay. Yeah, you can really, there's a lot of, that's a hard book to study because you got to try and understand. Are they talking literal? It's apocalyptic language. Are they symbolisms and different things? So yeah, it's definitely good to go through either in a study Bible or with a commentary or something because that's a lot of deep understanding. And there's so many different views of interpretation inside the book of Revelation. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's good stuff. It's all good though. It all really is.
Yeah, it seems like every 2 sentences I'm looking something up on. Seriously, I have to take a lot of breaks. So it's taken me a while, and I'm actually going to go back and start to read some of the rest of the stuff because it's taken me so long to study it.
Sure.
But no, I enjoy it.
One of the sites I use, and I've mentioned it on the podcast before, for people either if they're studying or if they're just maybe they're not even Christians and they just got questions. Use that website, gotquestions.org. And what I love about that website is it's going to give you, like we just said, okay, Revelation, there's multiple ways to interpret different parts of that. Well, Got Questions is going to say, one interpretation is this, and here's the scripture, and here's who thinks it. Another interpretation is, they'll give you, like, if it's a consensus explanation, well, then they'll just say it, And it could be something about Revelation. It could be, what about tattoos or, sex before marriage? It could be anything. I mean, you type it in at gotquestions.org and you're going to get some pretty good answers right there. But what you said right there, it just makes me think like Johnny Cash. I just came across this. He said this. I know he's the one who said this. He says, if you go searching for truth, you're gonna end up at Jesus at some point.
Yep.
It's up to you what you do with it at that point. But if you really go searching for truth, you're gonna end up at Jesus. And the Bible tells us, hey man, ask and it'll be given to you as far as wisdom and searching. Seek and you will find it. Like you're gonna end up at Jesus. Sure, you may try and say, okay, yeah, don't want nothing to do with that. Well, that's on you. But if you go searching for truth, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. So absolutely. I love that. If you had $1 billion, what would you do with it? If you hit that Powerball everyone's always talking about, which I'm not a big fan of gambling other than fantasy football. But what would you do?
Man, the first thing I would have to do is build a basketball facility.
Yeah.
Right in Waterloo, Iowa, Dunkerton, Iowa, wherever I chose. But it would absolutely be a build a basketball facility.
Okay, I like it.
Absolutely, and I would try to do it in a way that allows a lot of people to use it and cheap memberships and whatever it may be. And then some more serious answers is I love when people go and just meet new people that have fallen on hardships and have a conversation with them and kind of, just like I said in episode 1, if you have a conversation with anybody, no matter what you think about them before, and you can get that kind of human emotion out of them in the conversation, you're going to realize that they're made in the image of God, that yes, maybe they've done some very, very questionable things, and yes, maybe they are quote unquote bad morally people, but if you just talk to them and you understand where they came from and all this stuff, you're going to realize that they don't mean that bad. So some of my favorite things to see is when people do that with the homeless or with people that, like I said, have just fallen on any hardships, and just bless them at the end. Just take care of them financially, and it's not even necessarily give them a bunch of money, but maybe it's pay off their mortgage or pay for them to college or just buy them a new outfit. Just stuff that we take for granted every day, and it, like, almost all of them end in tears. Yeah. And it's something as simple as, seriously, just giving them a place to live or clothes or an opportunity. And man, that stuff is special. That stuff is so moving.
It is.
And then obviously take care of family, pay off a lot of the mortgages and loans and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Take care of family, basketball center, help people who are down. Yeah. That's when I think of Pastor Brooks and what he's trying to do, man. He's not this center he's trying to build, it's going to help get kids and families out of poverty, get them life skills, get them education, get them in the trades, get them off the street, because there's going to be gymnasiums in this center and stuff to get kids, instead of going into the gangs and things like that. Hey, get in here, play some basketball, get in the pool, do some things.
Absolutely.
And they're going to have restaurants there. You can learn how to get into the food and beverage industry. You can do all kinds of things, carpentry, all this stuff. He's trying to get people, lift them up, get them on a solid footing in society, and get them to be contributing members in their community. And he's doing it all because of Jesus. Like, the gospel is the center of everything he's doing. So I would say give him, I think he only needs $30 million to finish. So if you got $1 billion, I would recommend, hey, give him the rest.
Absolutely.
So give him what he needs.
Yes.
I like to have regular people on like you, but I understand the audience, and for growth, I need to swing for the fences every once in a while. So when you start talking about people doing things, out of the kindness of their heart and stuff, there's one guy, he's a Christian. I know he is, but he's an influencer. He's one of those food cooking, flat top griddle influencers.
Okay, gotcha.
Smokehouse Nick. He's got a lot of followers on Instagram, and he always wears these Christian T-shirts as he's doing his cooking videos. His wife is in a wheelchair, and so you can always tell those videos when you see them. He's Smokehouse Nick. She's Mama Smokehouse. And I just heard back from him. The guy's huge. He's really huge. And I just heard back from him, and he said, let's make this a goal to get us on your podcast this year. And I was like, sweet, because he's always doing these videos. If it's not on his deck cooking, then he's showing you, I'm doing 100 burritos for the homeless this morning.
Man, that's
and then he
awesome.
takes the camera with him and shows you he's going to this park and he's handing them out. Or maybe they're not homeless, but they're, volunteers at some big thing, and he's just going there giving this stuff away from free, because, once you got sponsors and stuff, people are sending you Weber flat top grills and wanting you to do these videos and stuff. It's like, that's the right thing to do. When you got it, it's good to give. And that's Dave Ramsey. He's the big, he's a little rough around the edges for some people, but it's no nonsense financial advice. And his whole thing is treat money the right way so that you can get to a point where you can live and give like no one else. And that's the Christian philosophy when it comes to money right there. I love that. I love it. It's good stuff.
No, absolutely. And I'm not saying this for any credit at all, but that's one of my favorite things to do with this AU program too. Is one of my biggest things that whenever I have parent meetings or at the tryouts, I was talking about this. If you can't make this work because of financials, just talk to me and we will figure something out. I will find a business sponsor. I will find something. I don't ever want anybody to be limited opportunities based off something that they can't control, like kids and their parents' income and anything like that.
Yeah.
So
good. So if you're a business and you're listening, maybe you're not a parent who has a kid who maybe gets involved. Maybe you want to come on board and say, hey, I got some money for the next time a kid comes up short. Reach out. Pure Point Basketball. Absolutely.
It will change a kid's life. I promise. I've seen it with my own eyes. They really, really appreciate it. We have some really, really good families.
Good deal. Okay, a special bonus segment. Hardly anyone ever picks this thing. It's only been done a few different times. This is how the turntables, this is kind of a play off of Michael Scott messing up that saying, where I let the guest turn the tables on me, and you can ask me anything that was in that list of segments or questions or anything, and you can actually ask me about it. So, looks like you picked it. Do you have it down on your document?
Yep.
What do you got?
So, I don't remember how I seen this, and it was somewhere in the document, but it was something that you changed your mind about, and your answer was Reggie Miller. And I was just curious about that. I imagine that you hated him as a player, which a lot of people did, I was just curious to that story.
I did. Yeah, so when I send potential guests the document that has all the choices for segments and questions, I put my answers on there in a different color just in case I'm asked for this segment. Then I don't have to think on the spot. They're there. So you guys get to see them. And yeah, Reggie Miller. I'm a Knicks fan. Always have been. Early 90s, bro. Knicks was good basketball back in the early 90s. I loved it. And they were good back then. They haven't been good since. I guess we're about to be we're on the cusp of turning the corner, you know?
Absolutely.
So Reggie Miller, my brother-in-law, which at the time it was just my girlfriend, it was her brother. He loved the Pacers. He loved Reggie Miller. He loved Rick Smith. I hated everything about I treated them just like the Chiefs. I hated their colors. They made me sick. And Reggie was such a talker, man. And that one game where he came back and hit 3 threes in 30 seconds, stole an inbound pass, hit a three, making the choke sign to Spike Lee. I just hated the guy. Well, his sister went on a show with Dan Patrick. It was on DirecTV, and it was where he just interviewed these athletes. And he had Cheryl Miller on. And so she talked about their family and growing up. She was the star. Mm-hmm. Reggie wasn't the star.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it just gave me a whole new perspective. And Dan has Reggie on Dan Patrick a lot. He's a every couple weeks or every month contributor, every week during basketball season. And just the more I listen to him, I'm like, I need to move off of this. I don't hate Reggie Miller anymore. He's kind of funny. You know, he really loves Dan Patrick and the Danettes, and he's kind of fun to listen to. So, yeah, I don't hate Reggie Miller anymore. That's pretty much why.
There you go. That's awesome. One of my favorite stories from them was when Reggie got in the car or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I just had a career game. I put up 46 or whatever it was. I don't remember the exact numbers. And he's like, oh, Cheryl, how did you play? And she's like, good. And the dad's like, all right, tell him. And she had 100 and some points or something just ridiculous.
And he was mad. He's like, what?
He just had his career day, and she almost doubled it, if not more. I don't remember what the exact numbers were, but just
I know exactly. He's told that story before on air, and that's funny. I actually called into the Dan Patrick show to say that, to tell him I had changed my mind about that.
Really?
Probably because I heard Cheryl tell that story or whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's and I got on air, and so if I can find it, which I think I still have it somewhere, I'll try and insert it right here for you guys to watch. So enjoy.
Bubba in Iowa. Hi, Bubba.
ADP.
Hey, bud.
5'8" before neck surgery, 5'9" after, and now I'm 185. I'm a big-time Raiders fan, but this morning I'm calling in as a Knicks fan. Like everybody else, we DVR everything, so we watched Undeniable last night, me and the wife, and the oldest daughter was into it, and it's funny. I guess my wife listening to your show every once in a while. I think she's got something for your voice, I guess, but nothing to be worried about.
Okay.
But anyway, growing up a Knicks fan, I hate Reggie Miller. But this morning I woke up and I see the way you went back and forth with Cheryl, and you care about the Millers. So I just want to let you know, hey, I don't hate Reggie anymore. Not that he cares, but I see you have passion for that family, so you won me over. I like the Millers, I admit it.
Thank you, Bubba. Yeah, Cheryl Miller was great.
Yeah, so that was it. And if anyone's keeping count, that's actually the first time I was on the Dan Patrick Show, nationally broadcast radio show. I actually made it on a second time when our junior high football team went undefeated 2 years in a row. Everybody remembers that, though. So let's get it. We're at the end. We're doing much better on time this go around. I don't know how, depending on the magic of editing, I don't know how long your part one was. But yeah, we're about 35 minutes here, and we get down to the last segment to really hash this out. What is up with youth sports? There's a lot of people on different sides of the fence as far as the pros and the cons, and you know, some people will say this is it. If you want to make it to the next level, that you have to do, you know, travel ball, the elite level youth sports, and then, you know, we're going to get into all this stuff. So let's talk about all of it. Pros, cons, travel ball, kids specializing in just one sport rather than kind of like you were trying to play just about everything. And then maybe we'll get into more stuff like how's it benefiting the kids or affecting the kids, and how's it affecting the family. So I'll just let you take the ball and run with it.
Yeah, right away. I mean, I would say that it is so double-sided. It can be so good for kids to get out there and have relationships with people that have experiences that their parents don't have or their local coaches don't have, and it can be so beneficial. It can be so beneficial. On the flip side of that, it can literally ruin a kid's love for the game. You know, the difference of a good coach and bad coach with how popular AAU is and how easy it is to set up a team. And I mean, I set one up this winter with a couple phone calls essentially, and it's so easy for anybody to be a coach and to be a mentor role in kids' lives, that there are a lot of people, and I don't mean this in a negative way, and I'm not going to name any names of any programs or any coaches because that's not what I want to do. Mm-hmm. There are so many people that do it the wrong way. Like I said, with one of my 8th grade teams that are really, really blessed with talent, a ton of talent, and that 6'7" kid that I have on the team right now and the 6'5" kid in 8th grade that are just bigger than everybody. I mean, if I really wanted them to, they could average probably 30 points a game. If we just gave them the ball every play, they shot it over the top of the other person. One of my proudest moments as a coach was that 6'5" kid was leading our team in assists halfway through our tournaments. And just he was making reads, he was seeing the double team and finding the open guy. And sure, we might have dropped a game or two that maybe we wouldn't have. And sure, like I said, he could have put up a lot more stats and a lot more shots. But when they get to the high school level and they're getting scouted and double teams are being sent, they have to be able to adjust to that. There are a lot of, you go to high school games, there are a lot of players that if they're out of the game in terms of scoring, then they don't offer anything. And players like that, no matter whether you average 35 a game or whether you average 10 a game, if you're judging how you do and everybody can see that you're judging how you do based off your points or really anything other than intensity, being a teammate, the stuff that you can control, then you're going to get checked off the scouting list. Yeah. You're not going to go play college sports. When you go to a job and something goes wrong in your adult life, you're not going to react in the best way. No. So there are a lot of programs and people and coaches that are just in love with winning games early. For an example, I have a 6th grade girls team, the Dunkerton girls, that's an awesome group as well. Shout out to the 6th grade Dunkerton girls. If you guys are watching this, you guys are awesome. We run into teams that will just sit in a compact zone for 6th grade girls basketball. And what I mean by that is they take their 5 players, they don't guard man-to-man, they just kind of scrunch everybody together inside the 3-point line in the paint and make it really, really hard to drive to the hoop. So we have 6th grade girls taking perimeter shots and really, really struggling. Well, when you do that with the team, sure, you might win a game or two. You might win a couple championships because you're forcing sixth grade girls teams to shoot perimeter shots, which they're not going to be great at as sixth grade kids in general, not just girls. Okay, so then you take those girls, and when they get to 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, and they're forced to guard people and move their feet and be in gaps and be in help defense and learn rotations and X outs and all those complex defensive stuff, where are they at?
Yep.
Now they're behind.
Yep.
So you essentially sacrificed a lot of them learning, a lot of their early learning and building good habits for some trophies. For some trophies. So there are a ton of programs that do it the right way that I'll give it. I think All Iowa Attack is a phenomenal program. I think Iowa Prep was a phenomenal program. There are a lot of coaches out there that do really, really good things. Cedar Valley Basketball is a local program that's awesome. Ball Stars is a program out of Cedar Rapids that's awesome. Kingdom Hoops is a Christian-based program out of Des Moines that's awesome. There's a lot of programs that do it the right way, that worry about the right things, that raise high-level men outside of basketball and form relationships and care about the kids and their well-being. But like I said, it's so easy to start. It's so easy to start a program and be a coach and parent coaches and all this stuff that just really, really love to win trophies, and it sacrifices a lot of the well-being in travel sports.
Yeah. I think Brian mentioned that on his episode. Because I think we kind of talked a little bit about travel ball and stuff, and he said something. He goes, I don't want to knock it, but he said sometimes he's had kids, that got this much time in AAU ball, and then they show up, and he's like, yeah, but you don't know how to do X, Y, or Z. And he used baseball or basketball lingo that was over my head, but he's like, this is kind of base level stuff that you should be able to do, and you should have learned it, but you didn't learn it. So.
Absolutely, and I believe what you're talking about is I remember what you're talking about, and what he said was just simple defensive positioning stuff. Is like, yeah, okay, you can go like, I don't even know what the benefit is from that. Maybe you have some cool dribble moves or can ISO a little bit, but like, yeah, if you can't play help defense, if you can't be in gap, if you can't understand that stuff, then you can't play at any high level basketball.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I like hearing what you said in part. You're always trying to develop the best possible player, help them reach their full potential for the next level, as many levels as they're going to go,
yes,
and
absolutely.
put no limit on it. Like, I love the way you kind of describe that. So, what do you think about the whole, we get into AAU ball, like my mom does concessions at a complex, a baseball complex in Mississippi, one of these big ones, right? You can play baseball year round down south. So these things are huge, and these tournaments go year round, and these tournaments have teams from all over the country. And so needless to say, concessions are pretty good. That's a good business to be in, because kids are coming to that thing after every single game and stuff. But if you're playing the same sport year round, most of those kids, not all, but most of those kids will then pull away from multiple sports. So you used to have a kid that would play football, basketball, and then maybe wrestle or do track and possibly do baseball. Well, now if they think, oh, mom and dad say I got a future in baseball, well, now that's all they're going to do is baseball, and they're going to travel. They're going to play for their local team, then they're going to play for a travel local team, whatever. How do you think that? What's your opinion on that? And there's no wrong answers. These are your opinions. How do you feel about kids specializing in one sport?
Yeah, so, and you see it at bigger schools more than small schools, and I feel like it's starting to kind of trickle down where kids are seeing, the kids of pros just, like, if you're an NBA player's kid, yeah, you have resources to practice basketball year round that normal kids might not have.
Yeah.
So I would say the only situations where I'd say it's extremely beneficial to specialize at one sport is if you have all of those resources. Now, with that being said, I still, just as a human being, like I said, I wish I took all the other sports more seriously and played them through my senior year. I wish that I gave those teams my all and those coaches my all. And because at some point you're done playing. And then you look back and you're like, okay, then all you have is the experiences and the memories, and like we talked about in episode 1, you don't really remember many of the games or the box scores or the stats. It's what you experience together. And as bad as our baseball team was in high school in terms of wins and losses, there's some really funny memories that I remember making with my friends during the batting practices before games, and just anything that you can think of that I wish we had more of. You know, we really only had 1 year together in terms of kind of the basketball group in my grade where we played baseball, and I have a bunch of memories from that year. And so I wonder what we could have did in 3 years. And we were all athletic, coordinated kids. You know, if we stick it out and take it seriously, how good could we have been by the time we were seniors and all that good stuff? So I would recommend to any kid listening, experience as much as you possibly can while you have the resources. With that being said, a lot of the kids have the time to do other sports, and they like to use that as kind of an excuse, is I'm focusing on one sport. Well, if you're focusing on one sport, you better be doing that. You better be focusing on one sport. You better put everything you possibly can every single day when you wake up to that one sport. Then if you really want to use that time to that one sport, then use that time to that one sport. But there are a lot of kids nowadays that I see in junior high and high school and all this stuff. Like, oh, well, I want to focus on this. So, okay, well, what have you done in the last week? Oh, well, nothing. It's the off season. Well,
no, that's not how that works.
Yeah, no, that is not how that works.
You're not focusing on it.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's an easy way out for a lot of kids to try to, I don't mean be lazy in a super negative way, but, you know, be lazy as kids and kind of just relax a summer away or whatever it may be. So that's kind of my opinion on specializing on one sport, especially at small schools. Kids need to go out for every sport.
Yes.
Like, you just experience so much, you learn so much, and there are a million things we do as human beings that we get forced into doing, or we don't think we're going to like it, and then we do it, and we're like, all right, well, that's not that bad. It's not that bad. I actually enjoyed that. It was fun. So, so I am against kids specializing at one sport, except for very rare instances where maybe it'll make sense. Like, if your goal is to be a pro like your father or whatever it may be, then you're gonna need to work harder than 99.9999% of people.
It's that slim.
Yep, and that might take specializing in one sport. Yeah. Like I said, that's not the case for a lot of the kids that use that term.
I love the meme. I see it in a various form all the time, and it says something like, parents keep in mind, your kid has, maybe it's 3%, maybe it's 0.3%, has a whatever percent chance of earning a Division I athletic scholarship in any sport. But your kid has a 100% chance that he's going to stand before a holy God someday.
Yep.
So that leads me into my next question. When we're talking travel ball, how do you feel it's affecting kids, families, the family unit as a whole, when Wednesday nights, Sunday mornings are no longer sacred? Okay. And I understand there's tons of benefits to athletics, and this is the world you're in and everything like that. But I'm a big believer in the data shows the number one problem in the country that if any kid has any problem, so let's say it's high school dropouts, it's drugs, it's alcoholism, it's violence, it's whatever. You follow that back, the biggest common denominator is the breakdown of the family. You know, single parent households, you know, which all of us have experienced at one point or another, most of us anyway. I honestly think traveling for a kid's sport, not going to church on Sunday, not, you know, having those, even if you're not a Christian and you're not going to church on Sunday, but having those moments where it's like, okay, we're going to have a day just for us family or something. Like, how do you think that whole, I'm talking worst case scenario, I'm talking this is it, single sport, traveling year round, whatever. How do you think that's impacting?
Yeah, so all I can speak for is kind of what I see and kind of trying to put myself in other shoes because I don't have a family of my own right now. Yeah. And I would say it's really tough.
Sure.
There are a lot of families that travel a lot. I'm running into probably 95% of families don't want to travel that much when coming to my program and all that stuff. They talk and they're like, hey, we got a lot of stuff going on. We would really appreciate if we stay in the Midwest, and if we only have 4 or 5, probably 4 at the most tournaments leaving the state. So there are, like I said, probably 95% of families prioritize not traveling that much.
Okay.
With that being said, it is still a lot. I would say something that I've used to kind of balance is bringing my Bible on to these tournaments, to this stuff. And I would be lying if I said I haven't had basketball on a pedestal at times over my faith, and just as a family we have. A lot of the time when we stopped going to church as a family was because we were traveling on the weekends, and we had, tomorrow, or I guess not tomorrow, but I think it was 16 weekends out of these 4 winter months. I'm gone in a tournament coaching right now. So there are a lot of Sundays that I have 8 a.m. games, 10:30 game, and then a 1 o'clock game. And I'm gone all Sunday. And something I've tried to be better at, and that I still need to improve on, is when I go to church, I go to Hope City Church in Waterloo.
Okay.
And they do live streams and videos, and they have all this stuff on the web. So I try to watch some of those online, and do a lot of stuff online and on the devices. And if I'm going to use these devices to push my career further, why wouldn't I use it to push my faith further? So it's really trying to make sure my heart's in the right place.
Sure.
Yes, sure, I'm going to these tournaments and I'm doing these things to ultimately to try to help kids. I can't forget about the ultimate meeting. I have to give most of my effort towards still having that relationship with Christ, and not pushing that to the side to the best of my abilities. With that being said, it's not perfect. It's not super great. There are a ton of families in my program with 4 kids all on different teams, and they're gone at practices every night of the week when the mom's going here and the dad's going there. And like you said, there are a lot of families that don't have that day of the week to themselves. And I would say, wherever you go, whatever you do, if you feel that travel sports is holding your faith back, and you feel like you're sacrificing travel sports, 1, don't do it. If that's truly how you feel, don't do it. 2, try to find a balance. Like I said, I try to watch the live streams, or not the live streams, the videos of the church services when I have time on Sundays, and all this stuff. With that being said, if you're a family, like if I'm putting myself into a position of I'm a dad and a husband with kids, and it just feels like we're all over the place and we never get any time together, there's nothing wrong with sacrificing a basketball practice. There's nothing wrong with sacrificing a tournament. There's nothing wrong with any of that.
Yeah. Yes,
it sucks for the team, maybe. Yes, it sucks for whatever. But if I'm thinking, if a family came to me and said, hey, this has been going on, we don't feel as much as a family anymore, we want to make sure we're prioritizing our faith, we're not playing on Sundays this summer, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to kick you out of the program. I'm not going to do anything. I might add an alternate to help fill the void of the team.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's a great decision to make. If if your heart is in the right place and you feel that that's what's best and that's what God's telling you to do, then by all means do it.
Yeah.
By all means do it. Do not sacrifice your faith. Do not put it in a back seat. And it's different for everybody. If your heart is in the right place and you feel like on Sundays bringing the Bible to the tournaments and reading it in between games and watching the services online is fulfilling you, and you feel like you have a good relationship with Christ, and you genuinely feel like that when you lay in bed at night, I think there's nothing wrong with that either.
Sure.
Then I trust your ability to understand your relationship with Christ, and that you do have your heart in the right place and all that good stuff.
So there's a way around it, because NFL is the monster that runs sports in this country.
Yep.
Majority of your NFL games are on Sunday.
Yeah.
But yet all these NFL teams have team chaplains. You want to talk about dream job? That's me. Combine my passion for football with being in the locker room with these guys. Well, they do worship on whatever night works, that's their worship night. Yep. And they have Bible studies. And you know, when you were talking about your checklist, if kids can do this, or if they can't do this, if they can't be a good player unless they're scoring points or whatever, Tony Dungy's big thing about coaching was, man, he looked at character first, and he talked to teammates of players before he signed them or even drafted them, and found out what kind of person they were, what kind of player they were, what kind of teammate they were, and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say my vision, I'd love to see you saying, okay, we got this tournament out of town this weekend or whatever. But if you can get a couple of the parents on board and say, listen, I want to meet up, there's this church in this city. I'm going to go worship here on whatever it is, whatever, Friday night, Saturday night, or say I'm going to have this worship service on my computer. If you guys want to join me, we can watch that together, something like that. When you put sports or anything in this hand and your relationship with God in this hand, only one of these things is going to last forever.
Yep.
This is your career, and you're trying to do the best you can with it, and I get it, and I applaud you for that, and you should, and we need more guys like you in those positions.
I appreciate
but
that.
You said it, there's got to be a balance, and that balance should be tipped to say, you know what, this is the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
So we got to treat it that way. I like it.
And that's something in my mind, like as a human being, sometimes I think, I'm like, oh man, dang, I didn't have time to read the Bible today. And then it's like, okay, that's a problem. As soon as I realize and I think, oh, I pushed my faith back, then that's kind of the breaking point of where I'm like, okay, I need to figure something different out.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that you mentioned traveling to different churches, because I was just talking to my dad's grandma, Grandma Bonnie, and she said how she's really old now. She's pushing 90, and she was talking about how she's gone to basically every church in the Cedar Valley, and which ones she likes and which ones maybe she thought weren't worried about the greatest things and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, that sounds awesome. Just to go experience different churches and meet so many new people and see how many people worship in different ways and the different things that they do. So that would be really, really cool to kind of travel Midwest churches and do all that good stuff.
See them. Well, yeah. I know people that when they go on vacation, that's something they look forward to is, okay, we're going to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Hop on your phone, find out, okay, Sunday morning, this church is close by. This is where we're going. It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to hear.
Right.
You could get some awesome, mega church. You get some small little Baptist. You get some woke progressive thing that, Jesus is a lesbian kind of thing. And you're like, oh man, this is horrible. No, we can't be doing this. So, but they're making that attempt to go there and do it. So that's putting him first. Put him first, guys. Put him first.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
So, all right. Anything else you want to include in there? We're pretty much wrapped up, dude. That was really good. You handled a lot of that. A lot of that good, because that is tough. I mean, it's your world. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but at some point, parents do kind of need to think about some of that a little bit. I think because your family, especially as you're the lead guy. You know what I mean? You can be as good an influence as you want. You got your own personal, private faith, but with these parents, they're already in that structure where these kids, their spiritual upbringing is my responsibility.
Yep.
And if they can see that, you grant them, like, bro, if that's what you need to do that. Or if you can show them, hey, I'm making time to spend with God, on my own here. If they see that can be a door swinging open. Or just the way you live out in front of them, and they say, well, the reason Casey's like that, it ain't because he's a Dunkerton basketball legend. It's because he loves the Lord and he's carving out time to show God, you're actually the most important thing to me. So I would encourage you to definitely keep that mindset. Don't ever lose that mindset. Because really, like I said, there's only one thing that lasts forever. That's it.
Yep.
So,
and that's kind of the way I've been trying to connect it the most, is just reflect God's image. Like that's been one of my biggest goals while running this, is to not limit kids because of what they can't control. And I hope that, and try to treat the least of them in terms of how a lot of people would look at them, as good as I treat my star guys that might go D1, and hopefully that's reflecting God's image and seeing God's image in all them. And like you said, if they want to know kind of, hey, like, why do you do this stuff? And then I'll be like, all right, it's because of Jesus Christ.
Yep.
It's because of the Bible. Yep. It's because of my faith, all that good stuff. So
it's tough to, well, you probably, in AAU, you're probably allowed to do whatever you want. Whereas in high school, our kids, like, we have to tell them, like, yes, your coaches can't push their faith on you or anything like that, but you have to understand your rights. You don't check your Christianity at the door. in school or at sporting events, if you want to pray, if you want to do this, that, or the other, if you want to do reports on biblical things, if you want to bring the Bible to school, if you want to study scripture, if you want all these different things, conversations, Christian conversations, biblical conversation, like some of these kids think, oh, you can't do that because you're out of school. It's like, no, you can do that. You can actually share Jesus with your friends.
Yep.
It just can't be a disruption. It can't be during instruction time.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I would definitely encourage you. Definitely live your faith out in front of them, because it can have an impact. They're always watching, man.
Right. And I don't know why it is. I just feel like I will attract more people to Jesus if it just kind of is an awakening moment. Like, I feel like there are so many things in the world today that really claim, Christianity and all this stuff, but then, if you don't dress nice enough, we don't want you here. If you can't afford this membership, we don't want you here. So and this is nothing against any Christian organizations or anything like that, the materialistic stuff included in that, because there are the correct ways to go about that if your heart's in the right place. But I almost feel like more kids will be changed by kind of the surprise of, oh, he's doing this for all these kids. Why is he doing it? Like, they can't put the pieces together.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, his faith. Okay, that's what it is. Versus just, plastering it all over the walls and all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got you. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Yep. Yes, sir. All right, Casey, got to thank you for coming on, man. How can people connect with you if they're interested in what you got going on with Pure Point basketball, or they just maybe like we said, they're not parents with kids and they want to get in. Maybe they own a business and they want to help contribute, maybe offer some scholarships or sponsorships or something like that. How can they connect with you one more time?
The easiest way is email, purepointbasketball@gmail.com. Other than that, you can look us up on social media. A lot of our flyers have my phone number and email on there. We're pretty easy to find. Just message me on literally anything, anything at all.
Yeah, that's right. We got to give one last shout out quick. Shane Gammendinger. Shane's the whole one that set this up, man. I don't know. Approached me at work, said, you got to get my nephew on. You got to get him on. He's doing good things. So absolutely, guys, check him out. Check out Pure Point Basketball. Get involved. It's a good thing. Good thing. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. A lot of really good discussion, especially there at the end. I love that. I'm sure you encouraged the audience with your episode and everything you shared about your story and what you got going on and what you've experienced, and especially that whole, I got to the top, I reached my goals, and it wasn't enough. I love when you got to that point in part one, because it's never going to be enough if you're looking for things in this world to satisfy you. So to my audience, have you guys caught yourself in that same position where you're like, man, this just didn't satisfy? I don't have the joy. I don't have the hope. I don't have the peace. Where's that coming from? Casey was rising up through the ranks in basketball and it just never fully satisfied. How can that be? Maybe you got questions about things in life that just always seem confusing to you. I'll tell you, the answers can't be found down here. We gotta look up. I'm telling you, if we look to God and His Word, He will truly show us what is up. I have seen the Bible prove itself to me over and over again to have the best explanations for why the world is the way it is and why we are the way we are sometimes. Okay? If you're struggling and you need help, or you just want to know more, let me start with this. Some basic, simple truth. No matter who you are or what you've done, what's in your past, or where you're at right now, God wants a relationship with you. That is actually why you were created. Okay? But it's up to us to choose Him. That's where all that good stuff, the stuff you actually want, the hope, the joy, the peace, the best things in life, the things that will last, that's where it comes from. It's like Casey said in part one, it ain't religion, it's a relationship. You got to have that relationship with Jesus, okay? If you want to go deeper, you want to talk one-on-one, you can email me, whatisuppodcast@gmail.com. I will make time for you and try to answer any questions you have. If I don't have the answer, I'll get you in touch with somebody. Just reach out, leave a comment, let me know what you're thinking. So for me and my guest today, Casey Gardner of Pure Point Basketball, we thank you so much for listening. We hope it really encouraged you. Lord willing, I'll talk to you on the next one.
I appreciate you having me again. I seriously can't say it enough. Thank you a ton. Thank you for what you're doing, spreading the word, having your heart in the right place, reflecting God's image. So it is really special what you're doing. I appreciate it. Give them a follow, give them a like, comment, share it, whatever it may be.
That's right. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you.